I spent some time today with the scales I have and figured out the weight biases on these cars, and most of them were closer to 50-50 rather than that 60-40 ratio that um, is so good for crawling. And one of the things I found was the rear axle in every case was too heavy because I had it fully upgraded with brass, in some cases brass weights on the wheels, brass diff cover, brass hexes, and turns out that's not the best thing. I did keep it on the Trailmobile because I just think that looks super cool with that black and gold one, and it's only 9 grams off, so I figure I'll leave it since it's already a really good crawler. But the other three I have downgraded back to plastic diff covers on the rear, and in every case it's gotten better. And before, only this car could make it up the hill that I'm going to show you in a little bit, and since then the other three, since they've been more balanced out to that 50 or the 60-40 weight ratio, especially the camo one here, I added about 20 grams to the front and got rid of the weight in the back, and it completely changes. It was already a good crawler, but now it just does these things effortlessly. And I really like the scrambler tires on rocks. They're real compliant, and they just dig right into the rock, and it just goes. Nothing stops that thing. I don't know why people are getting mudslingers if they're running rocks, because I'll tell you what, man, I think the scramblers are fantastic on rocks. I have two with mudslingers as well, and they do well, but I really like the scramblers, and they're also easier to get. So I'll just show you the rock route that I've been taking ever since a night or two ago when I built it. It's super challenging, and it's just fun to drive. So if you don't get this hobby, if you don't understand rock crawling, I get it, it's not for you. But if this is something you like, it's something that you want to do well, and I like it. So there you go. See if I can't get this to climb up there for you. And the reason this route's tricky is because it's got an overhang that just hooks tires up. If you put a tire in there and it gets stuck, it's not going anywhere. It'll come out the side, and then that hook will catch your axle. There's no way you're getting it up over that once it hooks in. Some people play apps on their phone, some people watch TV. This is what I like. I don't care whether it's remote controlled rock crawling, real rock crawling, which I hope to do in the coming week with my dad down in Arizona. And of course I'm going to be taking some crawlers with me and doing that with him too. But he's got a Jeep we're going to go out in and have a good time. And maybe we'll get some video of that if we end up getting to do it. We're hiking, and this here is my deadbolt with the small tire Patagonias, and I know it can do this route because I've done it just once before the video, and it's difficult. If it was easy, I wouldn't like it. It would be boring. But since it's not easy, it's interesting. This is a tricky line because the rock I'm trying to climb is narrower than the car. And part of the problem with that is if you get too far to the right, you'll slip off of it. If you get too far to the left, it actually slips off to the left and then gets caught in that hook. The trick is to get your left front wheel up here on top of this rock, and if you can do that, you got the thing beat. But right now, I keep getting the axle hooked into that bump there. It's going to fall over. There we go. I kind of cheated. I used power on that one. Maybe I should be grateful for what I have. And then just try to realign it. But with that tire up on the wall, I can make the rest of it come up there. There it goes. Now the last challenge is kind of a shear wall right here. I'm going to run right into that. And the trick is to get the tire to catch before the body. And that's the deadbolt. This is my rig that opened up this route, proved it was possible. This is the one I kept a little bit tail heavy just because I like the look of that brass in the back. It's the one that's painted. So when that bounces, you can see this thing. See how it's bouncing? That's the tread working. It's good and bad. It digs in pretty hard, but when it lets go a lot. Sometimes the bouncing is also a little bit destabilizing for a climb when you're right on the edge. Kind of don't want it bouncing. Sometimes it's just a matter of finding the right vector lines between the front and back tires. The front may make it want to slide one way and the back's trying to twist it another. When you've got one wheel that wants to climb like this in the back and one that doesn't, this is going to want to push the car to the right, just because the left tire is climbing, the right side isn't. Now the front tires might not have enough steering authority, like in this case, to overcome that. And that's partially due to the fact that I have a little bit too much weight on the tail. And if I had all the weight up front on that 60% line, it would probably do better. I will probably eventually take this brass weight out of the tail of this and hopefully make it even a little better. But this is a double step climb where the front and back have to climb at the same time, so they each have to pull their weight, because you're not getting the axle over the only obstacle and then that axle pulls the rear axle. You know, if you get the front axle over an obstacle, normally your front axle can then pull the rest of the car. Well, when the front and rear axles have their own obstacle to overcome, they each have to do the work. and that's what makes this particular trail difficult. I gave up on the Trailmobile for a little bit. I tried it about 35 times and was not being successful. So what's ironic is that's the only truck originally that could make it up here. Get that far. And that was about the 35th try. I actually took a break from trying to run the trail car up here. It didn't want to do it. And then took about 35 tries to get my long wheelbase car up. Finally got it done. And it took literally one try with my scrambler type. Well, I'm going to try a few more times to try to get this thing up the hill. I tried about 40 times earlier and couldn't make it happen. The Mudslinger tires are just stiff. They don't conform, and if they don't grip for some reason, they'll start bouncing, and then as soon as it starts bouncing, you're losing grip. This is where the Mudslingers are just better. They are softer, the tread's softer, and it's a smoother tread. Along with that, these are just chunky blocks, and they grip really well on rough surfaces, but so do the scramblers. The problem is like I said, once they bounce, they're done. They don't like it. I'm going to try to do a hang line here and see if I can't just sort of hang it up and make it across. I fully intend to see this thing fall on the ground, but I've not tried this yet. It's literally hanging by the right front tire. Now both front tires. And if this thing could find traction somewhere and climb up like that, it would be super cool. And of course it can't be done. Although that gives me an idea